Hi everyone, we're setting up to, I'm setting up to demo for you how to go about making first of all your SketchUp model for your chess pieces, and then how to translate that SketchUp model into something that you can laser cut. So we're going to do the SketchUp modeling part first in this video, and then in the next video I'll talk about how to translate it into something else. So here we go. So I've done some design work here already, and I'm going to do some more design work now. So you may have seen previously that I've showed how to, or my designs for these sort of geometric shapes for the different pieces. So I've got here my pawn, and here is my rook, and so now we're going to look at some other pieces. So let's see, what will I do? I haven't really planned this out very much, and we'll see how it goes. The idea is to show you a little bit of the design process as well. So if my rook looks like this one here, like this here, and my pawn looks like this, it seems like I'm doing a sort of stacking idea. And so when we stack these things, so this is the stack for the rook. I think what I'll do is I'll make the one for the bishop triangular, right? So I'm going to add a triangular piece to the top of this. So let's see, what will that look like? So I'll have a square here like this, and you know, I'm designing this in a way that you can see that hopefully you don't need a whole lot of three-dimensional drawing skills, because everything's basically two-dimensional slabs, if you like, or three-dimensional slabs, but you can draw them quite easily in 2D, get the idea of how they work. And so then as the bishop, I'm going to have an isosceles triangle sitting on top of there. It might have to have a little piece that comes below here like that. So if the rook looks like this, then you know, maybe this makes sense as a bishop. We'll see, right? So, but this is the basic idea. Okay, so let's see if I can transfer over to SketchUp. So here we are in SketchUp. I'm using the online version, SketchUp free. I've already opened this up. So now I'm going to make a model. I want to start by making a circle, and I'm going to start it over here in the at the origin, and I'm going to make it 15 centimeters in radius. Sorry, 15 millimeters in radius. And you can see it's tiny, tiny, tiny. I'm using my scroll key to zoom in, and so there's my piece there. That makes sense if you look at, you know, this person. That's really small, which makes kind of a lot of sense, right? So we'll get rid of this. Don't need that, and we'll just zoom straight in here. So I'm scrolling in, zoom in, and there is my circle. Right, and so that's going to be my base. I'm going to bring this up by using the push-pull tool. Click, and I'm going to drag up, and all of this stuff is 3 mils thick, so 3. There we go. And so there's my first piece, right? So that's like the base, if you like. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my 2 cross pieces. So let's go and have a look at that again. So over here, so I've got my 2 cross pieces, like this sort of setup here. So, oh, actually, I'm noticing that this is wrong. Actually, this should be 40 mils, not 30 mils. So I'll go and change that in my SketchUp. So 40 mils. So this will be 40 as well here. Right, let's go do that. So I could change this, but I think I'll just start again. So I'll just select all that, hit delete, get rid of it, start a new circle. Right, from the origin out by so this time 20 mils to give me a 40 mil radius. And so then I can extrude this using the push pull tool, and what am I doing here? 3 mils again. Right, so there's my base. Right, now a few things that I glossed over. When you start any tool, right, doesn't really matter which tool it is, any tool, the way that SketchUp works is rather than clicking and dragging, you can do that, but it's not very useful because the minute that you let go of your mouse key, you stop. And instead of that, what I'm doing is I'm going click once to start the tool, and then I'm using my cursor. I can move anywhere I want to and let go of my mouse. You can't see that I've done that, but I have. And then to finish the tool, to finish the command, I'm going to click again, or in this case, I'm going to type in a number. So 20 radius. You can see in the bottom right hand corner here, that's where I can type in numbers. You don't have to click in there, you can just type. Right, so 20, press enter, and then extrude out. Again, the same way. So click once to start it, type in the dimension that you want, and press enter. Right. So again, I don't need that. Just triple click on that to select all of it, delete it. So now I'm going to create my cross pieces here. So before I do that, actually, I'm going to triple click on this, 1, 2, 3, and then right click and make that into a component. You can make a group as well. I like components. They have some extra features. I'll show you about those later. So I'm going to make that into a component. I'm going to call that base. Okay. Right, so there's my base. So now I can build some stuff on top of that. So I'm going to start by creating a rectangle. And I'm going to start it, let's see, I'm going to start it here. Oh no. So, some issues. See how this is not actually a circle? It's really a regular polygon. It just looks like a circle when you look at it from far away, but when you get close up to it, you'll realize it's not actually a circle. That has some implication for when you start drawing on top of it. You can't rely on these dimensions here. So I'm going to make my rectangle off here, off to the side. So I'm just going to start it anyway, it doesn't really matter. So I've clicked once and then changing my view to force it into the right sort of size. So there we go. So you can see it in the bottom right hand corner, 8mm by 61mm. What I want is 3 by 40. So what I type in is 3, 40, and then press enter. So there's my rectangle there, and now I'm going to extrude it up. So again, click once, go up by 40, and there we go. So there is that piece there. Right, so like I did for this one, I'm going to triple click on this and make it into a component. This one I'm going to call maybe side. And there we go. Alright, so now I've got these two pieces. I've got to now join them together. This one looks a bit big, I'm not sure. Maybe I made a mistake. Let's see. So I'm going to use the move tool. Here's the move tool. And I'm going to move from the midpoint in this side here to there. Now that's not exactly right, as you can see. I'm now going to move it over by a set amount. So I'm going to move it in this direction. Now I want to make sure that I'm going only in the red direction. So you can use the arrow keys. So I just clicked on the arrow on the right arrow key, which means that it's only going in the red direction, no matter where I put my cursor. In the same way I can go in the green direction by hitting the left arrow key, or if I hit the up arrow key, I can go up and down. Right, so I want in the red direction, so there. And how much do I want to go over? I want to go over by 1.5, so the half of the width, 1.5 millimeters. So there we go, so now I should be in the middle. Right, that's looking pretty good. Right, now I don't want just one of these, I want two of them. So now, rather than copying it and then trying to paste it in place, I'm going to use the rotate tool, and I'm going to do it from the middle here. Yeah, from there. Now, I want to make sure that, actually, is that in the right place? So if you're unsure, so I might just go right down to the bottom here, look at it from underneath, and then try and snap to the origin there. So that's pretty good there. Right, so I've got there. So now I'm going to go out here and click once to start my rotation. And then you can see my object is rotating around, and I want to rotate it onto the red axis. Now, that would just turn it. It's not very helpful. I want to actually make a copy of it. And you can see here in the bottom, on the bottom of the window, there are some extra commands that it gives you an opportunity to use. So control equals toggle copy. So let's hit the control key, and now I'm copying my object. And so I want to copy it at a 90-degree angle. So it's pretty tricky to get that angle right. So I'm just going to type it in. So 90, press enter, and there we go. So there we go. So this is what the pawn would look like. Right, now what I haven't done yet is sorted out how it's going to interact, or how it's going to intersect with itself, but I'll do that later actually. For now, I'm just going to leave it like this, and now I'm going to deal with my my two triangles. Right, so I'm going to create a polygon. Right, and when I click on the polygon tool, if you look down in the bottom right hand corner, you can see that at the moment it's creating a six-sided polygon. What I want is 3, so I'll just type in 3, press enter. Right, so there's my polygon. So now, how big should the polygon be? Let's see. If I click once, I'm not exactly sure what the mode is that I'm going to be using here. Let's read down this here. Select center point, use control plus or control minus to change number of segments. Okay, that's not very helpful. So let's see. Alright, so that's going to be a bit tricky, isn't it? Because what it's telling me is that we're working on the inscribed radius here. So what I really want is the edge size. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to make it something that's reasonable. So like that, let's say. And now let's see. Let's measure this. I could do a whole lot of trigonometry or maths, but I'm not going to try and deal with that. That's 45 millimeters long. Let's see. Well, maybe this might look good. Let's see. So I'll just move this up by 3 mils. Remember, I'm designing it as I'm going as well a little bit. So now it's lying down on the ground. That's not very helpful, is it? So let's select it all. We'll make it into a component first. We'll call this triangle. And now I'm going to turn it up on its end. So I'm going to use the rotate tool again. This time I'm going to snap to one of the corners. Now, at the moment, it's going to rotate it kind of round, flying around on the ground. It's not very helpful. Right, so I'll just click somewhere, and then Control Z, get back, and then I'll try and do this again. This time, so I'm going to snap to that corner again. I'm going to use my arrow keys again. So which arrow direction do I want to rotate it in? This green direction seems right. So I'm going to click once here, click again on this corner, and then stand it up. Again, if it snaps to my angle readily, I can just click. So there we go. This is lagging quite a lot, but we'll see. Okay, so that looks okay. It might be a bit big. What should we do? Well, let's put it in place first, and then we'll see how we're doing. So we'll move it. So we'll move from this midpoint up to, I'm just going to do it kind of where I want it. So let's say there, and then I'll adjust. Right, so you can see that that's not perfectly centered, but that's all right. We can deal with that. I think it's this. Then we go to the center of this. That looks good. So let's just take a look and see what that looks like. That's okay, I guess. I think what I'll do is I'll just live with that. Right, so now again, in the same way as the other one, I'm going to rotate a copy of this. So use the rotate tool. This time I'm going to try doing it from the top here. Let's see how we do here. Let's try to zoom in here. I can snap to there. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Now I want to make sure that I'm doing it in the horizontal plane, so that's good. Right, so I'm going to go to here, click, hit the control key to make sure I'm using a copy, and then just type in 90, and then that's just easier. Type in 90, there we go. So what does that look like? That's okay. I'm going to, I think, choose both of them and rotate them both by 45 degrees. I reckon that might be quite a nice way of dealing with it. Wow, this is very laggy. But I do seem to think I've connected to that intersection there. I'm going to hit the up arrow key and start it at some angle out here. That looks good. And then go to 45 degrees. I'll just type in 45, that's just easier to finesse it. There we go. So what does that look like? I think that's kind of at least interesting. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with the intersection part of it, but let's just leave it at that for this tutorial. In the next one, I'm going to show you how to create these intersections, because I think no matter what you do, you're going to have to create intersections anyway. So I think I'll stop the tutorial there, and we'll come back to it again later. All right, thanks very much.